Hi there, welcome to my channel. This is Tina from Tinaheals.com, and this is a quick update on COVID-19 and the intricacy of medical astrology and astrological humors. COVID-19 belongs to SARS-CoV-2. It is from the family of beta coronavirus. Okay, now what I want you to understand is that the immune system reacts very violently with this virus. Okay, and plagues, okay, fevers, especially burning fevers, are all attributed to Mars. Okay, Mars, the red planet, Mars, the lesser malefic, also known as Mangal in Vedic astrology. Inflammation is also the domain of Mars, actually. Okay, any kind of inflammation. Now, what I want you to understand is that COVID-19 moves very fast. It is a very quick acting virus, okay? It spreads fast, it infects fast. It's a quick acting, fast moving virus. Again, if you know the significations of Mars, Mars is fast moving, quick acting, right? Now, the thing about COVID-19 is it's become such a global pandemic because it cannot be contained. And this cannot be contained comes from the signification of Jupiter. Okay, because Jupiter was very much involved in all this drama in Capricorn that happened, right? It's been really interesting how this facet of coronavirus, its ever expansive nature and the fact that it cannot be contained. I think the signification of this can be attributed to Jupiter. Now, let us understand the symptoms that are attributed to the moon and Venus, because moon and Venus rule the phlegmatic humors, phlegmatic humors, okay, because they're cold and moist. Okay, now cough, runny nose, sneezing, sore throat, digestive system anomaly like nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea. Okay, all this comes from phlegmatic humors, which are attributed to moon and Venus. Okay, now the symptoms that are attributed to Jupiter, they are fatigue, myalgia, pneumonia, chest CT with lesions. Okay, now again I want you to understand that the cancer ingress of the sun, the chart was phlegmatic. Okay, essentially full of cold and moist energy that moon and Venus are also bringing to the table in exacerbating coronavirus. Okay, now fevers can be attributed to both Mars and Jupiter. Hypoxemia and respiratory problems and respiratory distress, when you cannot breathe, your lungs collapse on you, that can be attributed to Saturn, the greater malefic. Okay, shock, encephalopathy, when your brain enlarges, myocardial injury, heart failure, coagulation dysfunction. All of this can be attributed to Jupiter in medical astrology. So Jupiter also rules the lungs and the muscular system. So Jupiter will also rule pain in the muscular system. Okay. Now fatigue, corruption of blood. This is important. Heart tremblings. Okay. Shock and heart failure. All of this can be attributed to Jupiter, and that Jupiter in detriment in Capricorn, and that retrograde Jupiter. So Mars, Jupiter, both are significations of fevers, but you need to study the intervals at which the fever comes and goes, and then you will be able to understand that is this fever specific to Mars or specific to Jupiter. Okay, but remember, no Jupiter talismans can be created because Jupiter is in detriment as of now, and retrograde of course. But till Jupiter does not move into a position of essential dignity, we cannot really make a talisman of Jupiter. There are other ways to honor the energy of Jupiter, which we do in Vedic astrology. We do different kinds of charitable work because Jupiter loves charity, so does Saturn, to appease the Jupiter, especially if Jupiter is your final dispositor. Okay, now so we've got to study how the fevers are coming, how long they are appearing in intervals of, because that's going to tell us that are we attributing this large scale pandemic to Jupiter or Mars. Now in my opinion, all of these planets that I spoke about, the Moon, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn, all of them have their hand in the coronavirus. They all have a role to play in the coronavirus. Now, I do not see anything really happening this whole year. If you ask me the truth, I see quarantine pretty much continuing this whole year, if not the next 2 years, in some form. Traveling will never be the same. There may be newer technologies which aid in traveling, like the hyperloop that Elon Musk is creating. So things like that are going to come up. Okay, but the thing is that the life that we lived before 2020 is essentially lost to us. It is gone. There's nothing to fret, or there's nothing to feel. Yes, nostalgia of course, but there's nothing to feel like all is lost, because things were not really sustainable. Also, another thing is with Saturn moving into Aquarius, we saw huge tectonic shifts, because malefics moving into fixed signs always signal volcanic activity and tectonic plate movement. So that is something to think about. So that was a bit about the planets and their humors and the kind of energy that they bring to the table, and that we must understand whether to work with the Moon, Jupiter or Mars, and how to appease them. Working with the planetary diamonds is the best way to integrate astrology. It's all well and fine to study the archetypes, to understand, okay, what happens if Saturn is in Aquarius, what happens if Venus is in Gemini, but then what of the final integration? That can only come if you establish a deep soul-to-soul connection with the planetary diamond of those planets. So book a reading and drop me a message, and check out my website. Thank you. Speak soon.